Good afternoon. Hello. Towards the end of the day, people are getting tired, but we have a really important conversation to be had now. Artificial intelligence, more on artificial intelligence, has moved from the frontier to the mainstream, primed to impact every part of our societies, central, perhaps the central key to global power politics. The question isn't just about the innovation, but who can build the company that thrives around it. Open source models are rivaling proprietary ones. Where does the greatest innovation lie, the greatest advantage, in data, in integration, or in distribution? Today, we're going to look at AI through two complementary lenses, from the investor's view of value creation to the operator's view of what actually drives success. In a world where intelligence itself is being commoditized, what truly makes a company durable? We have two fantastic speakers. I'd like them to join me up on stage. Hynes, CEO and Managing Partner of Wellington Management, and Arvind, Jain, the CEO of Glean. Do please join me both. Thank you. Jain, I want to start with you, if I may. From the investor's perspective, what defines a successful AI company?
Yeah. So I might, if one of the interesting things about the markets right now is that we have a morning meeting we've been doing for almost 70 years. We talk about AI every morning meeting when we talk about companies. I think that's very different than any other technology we've ever talked about before. So when I think about what's a successful company, one is the companies that are actually working on AI, the application, the hardware, the energy companies, the power companies, the data centers. That's one category, and clearly they are the companies that are now generating the profits. They're creating the technology, all aspects of that. And then I'm going to talk about the rest of the 10,000 public companies around the world that are going to use AI, and we spend a lot of time there too on what is how are companies going to become more efficient, productive, innovative by the use of AI. And so when we think also about all the companies that are public, both public and private, how are companies using AI to compete, to get a competitive advantage, to innovate, to become more efficient, to scale in a way that they weren't able to before. So that is our...
So you're splitting it into two. One is the AI company,
Yeah.
and that I want to Arvind in on that. And the other one is every single company out there who has to be integrating it in some form or another. And how are they doing it? And if they're not, they're behind the curve.
And that's even different from the internet, because the internet was a tool. This is a way to work.
This is kind of an identity.
How you work, yes.
Okay, and I'm going to come how Wellington Management integrates AI, because you can't just talk about it, you have to do it.
Yeah.
But Arvind, I want to come to you. You've been in all sorts of companies. You've started up a couple of companies of your own. Where do you see the greatest value today in AI?
Well, first, I think all the magic in AI happens at the model layer. That's the net new.
Happens at the
model layer.
Okay,
so
yeah.
all the foundational models. So that's the new thing. Like that's the technology that fundamentally is driving this new value, is changing, how we work. But when you think about value, models are going to be built by a few different companies. Today there are 3 companies that are dominating it, and the rest of the industry, they will all have access to the same models. So for you, as a company to actually generate value, to create a differentiation, you have to focus on building the layers on top of the model. You have to figure out if you can create data moats, if you can generate specific data that allows you to then create value-added applications. You have to figure out how you embed yourself in workflows where people work, so that you sort of create that ease of use and bring value to people right where they work. So those are those are some of the avenues where value generation and differentiation will happen over the years.
This is a great opportunity. I was going to come to this later, but I think you've just raised it. There's a poll that I want to bring up, if we can bring up a poll. Can we bring up a poll? There should be a QR code that's going to show. Or not. Okay, we'll come back to the QR code. We'll come back to the poll because there's a poll that we want to do, which is
It looks like it's up. It's up now.
Oh, there you go. So will you take a look at the QR code? Because the question is, what's most critical to an AI company's success? And you've started to list some of those things. I want to see what the audience thinks is the answer before I ask the both of you what you think is the answer. You talked about, I mean, AI is moving so fast, and I don't know, I mean, do you think you can define what is going to be key in 5 years, 10 years? How do companies that are investing in it now make sure they're at the front edge of the envelope? Because it is changing so fast.
So one of the things, one of the lenses I've been taking is like our job is to be an insight company. We need to figure out what's happening in the world, and so one of the things that as CEO of Wellington is like we need to help our investors by also sort of using this technology in a way that teaches our investors how other companies might be using it. So when I think about all the work we've done in the last couple of years, we talk about speed up, change, and then create as we think about a roadmap for using AI within Wellington. The speed up phase was all about data architecture governance. And I'll give you one example. Everyone knows duration of fixed income. Well, in our systems, we had, I think, 70 different definitions of duration, slightly different. So over the last number of years, we've spent quite a lot of time on taxonomy, like getting what does duration mean here has to mean the same thing here. And that's across many, many different topics in the financial market. So the first couple of years, creating the data foundation, and within that foundation, how do we use our own IP, our own edge? I'll give you two things that are our edge in our company. One is that we are a research-based company. So we have 20,000 company meetings a year with corporations. How do we take all of that IP and make sure it's available for us to use as insights? So we're ready to scale that now. It's been quite a few years of getting ready, the foundation ready, so that we can put our own IP, earnings, models into our own system.
So you're talking about the data. So what is most critical to an AI company's success? We've got capital, talent, less regulations, technology. We don't have data on this. So you're essentially...
I think to start, you need data.
You need data. You need credible data.
I don't know if you'd agree with that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like, even for us as a company, the way we add value is by connecting our product with all of the enterprise data and try to make sense of it. I mean, data is actually quite complex also. Like this, as you were mentioning, every single enterprise has tons and tons of data, but it's actually complex. It's contradictory, in many ways, with each, with different documents, talking about things in a different way. So when you think about making AI read that data and do something useful with it, that's where like a lot of value lies in. And if you can actually understand the data, if you can clean it, if you can organize it better, that sort of creates value for AI companies.
So bad data, bad analysis. We know that. Will you just say a word about what Glean does and is?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you can think of Glean as it's like ChatGPT, but inside your company. So you can come to Glean, you can ask questions, and Glean will use all of your internal company's data and knowledge, as well as all of the world's knowledge to help answer those questions or complete your tasks. So sort of like ChatGPT, but with that enterprise context, that knowledge of like how work happens inside your company. So that's what we do, and that's where I was saying that like models generate amazing value for us in terms of the capabilities and the kind of product experiences we can create. But to add true value, you have to still build a lot of machinery on top of those models.
Is it fair to say you've got the foundational models, then you input the data, you clean the data, you input the data, you make sure that it's good data.
Structure the data.
You structure the data, and that's where you're talking about your kind of the layers, right? It's the how you structure the data.
That's right.
And how you do analysis on that data at the end of it.
Yeah.
So when you're advising investors, when you're kind of putting, what is it you look for? I kind of almost see, you've got 5 companies all wanting investment, and you're looking at a 2-page synopsis. What is it you're looking for?
So I think what our investors are looking for is companies that are going to use this extremely powerful extremely powerful technology to stay in the lead, keep their market share, or leapfrog other companies. And so when I think about what are we looking for, we're looking to have conversations with management teams in every industry in the world, and how are they, one, do they have an AI strategy? Not everyone does. What's interesting is that large companies are adopting it faster than small companies. That's what the data shows so far. So just having those conversations with all the companies, and if you can imagine, if we're having 20,000 conversations a year, we're going to have insights about which companies are having success, which companies are falling behind in terms of using this data. So really it's about the plan. We're at the planning stage.
And for both of you, you know, MIT did this study. You knew this was going to come up, right? MIT did this study that said that 95% of generative AI pilots at companies fail. So we're talking about the value of AI, and yet the statistics suggest otherwise. What is it that you've learned that explains that failure rate, that ensures that the companies you're investing in aren't failing at that rate? Or is failure creativity? Is failure a good thing? Is that what experimentation is all about?
Yeah, well, I can share some reasons for that. So number one, I think there is so much interest for AI, so much pressure that's coming from CEOs of companies to bring AI solutions internally and change how your business works. And the demand actually came before the products could actually, get ready to add value. So that's one of the reasons why, a lot of these experiments have been premature. Solutions haven't really been built. Like, you don't get to build great products in like 2 months or 3 months, even in this age of AI. Like, it still takes a good amount of engineering to build those systems. So that's sort of one reason why, so many projects are failing. And then the second one is I think you have to have a better strategy for how you bring AI inside your enterprise. It's not a good idea to sort of take 100 projects across different departments or divisions in your company. You have to sort of put more investment in fewer areas and actually have more of a leadership involved in running these projects. So more people, initiatives have to be not like a playground, but something that's you're serious about. That is sort of what generates success. So for us, for example, I think we deploy our product to enterprises, and we will actually demand our customers to actually have senior champions who are going to actually see this project through success.
So I'm hearing planning, strategy, and people, which I would like to close with the people, the talent. How important is that? I was just chairing a discussion where we were talking about, do the C-suite all need to be CISOs, right? I mean, how important is the talent of the people in this?
I couldn't agree more by the way of focus. Like at Wellington, we didn't do 100 things, we chose 5. And I think 2 years later, we're not seeing a 95% failure.
Okay.
And then one of the important things we did is to give it to every co-pilot and now OpenAI to every one of our employees. And I think that has then led to significant innovation from the people who are doing the work. So when I think about talent, what gets me most excited about the future of the world, but also when I see what's happening at Wellington, is people that own a process. They're the closest to the work, and I would say the talent that is very willing to do things differently, that mindset of, this is how I've done it. It takes 100 hours to do this kind of work, and now they've gotten it down to 200. What we're trying to do is make sure everyone has it and share those stories. I think we have like 100 stories of work processes that have been changed in the past year. And I would agree that 2 years ago we weren't seeing it. We're seeing a lot of success in the past year. And so that is what I get most excited about, the change agent nature of it, and the talent who's willing to really change the work.
So if MIT did the study again today, the numbers would be very different, you think?
Well, I mean, I think the volume of experiments, still continues. So majority of the projects are still failing, but you will start to see big successes. And I think remember one thing, like, it is okay for some number of projects to fail, you want like one or two big successes because that fundamentally changes the trajectory of your company.
So one word answers. The question was that we polled, what is most critical to an AI company's success? One word.
Talent.
Talent.
I was going to say talent.
Talent.
Too.
Talent. You have it. You are the talent. Will the talent join me in thanking our two panelists today? Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
They all agree with you, by the way, or at least 67% of them do. Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's nice.
So nice to meet you.
Likewise.